Alright, so here's your tubing bending, or how to make metal rings using a tubing roller. The way it works is there's two stationary rollers on the bottom and then one top roller that goes up and down. It has a carriage that allows pressure to be developed, and once you initiate a little bend, you roll the pipe back and forth, getting the entire curve in, and then you lower a little more. It's an incremental building, so realistically you can go from straight to virtually any diameter as long as it's small enough to fit around the wheels and getting out of it. Now the wheels I have, these are just demonstrators. Hang on. So the Harbor Freight kit comes with 3 different size idler pulleys and drive pulleys, and I got currently the 1 inch I think set up in there, and then there's 1.25 and 1.5 inches. These work out really well. Please watch yourself. I'll talk about a little bit more of that in the future. But here's weak point number 1. On the big wheel, when it gets up onto there, there's only these 2 little flats for the set screws to maintain grip width, and that is a weak point. I've already broken the little screws that hold the drive wheel to the shaft. You can see right there. Those little screws are weak little teeny tiny piddly ass stuff, and they're no good. I've already stripped the top out. The solution for mine was I went ahead and just added 1/4-20 taps. I just used a 1/4-20 tap, threaded that hole, and put in a new set screw. Alright, so now we talked a little bit about those things, but this is your weak point right here, where the wheel and drive can slip, and the same thing with the drive pulley. Keep those set screws tight and you'll be in good shape. Alright, so I got the tubing roller clamped down. I got myself about a 6-foot length of this pipe. First thing you want to do is go ahead and feed it in without any real tension on the bending pulley and drive pulley, and just run it back and forth a couple of times. Let it find its natural arc. It's going to have a space where it wants to automatically sit and not spin. It's worth taking the time to do this back and forth. Now when it gets up to about the threads this time, I'm going to line that up with the top of the wheel and then go ahead and start tightening down my bolt. As I apply just a little bit of pressure, probably about 1/2 of a nut turn, now I'm going to roll it back this direction. As soon as I get real close, you got to watch this. Make sure you don't roll off your roller. I'm going to get it right to the same spot on this end. Line it up nice and even. And then I'm going to add a little more tension. And the magic starts to happen. Typically right about here. About 1/2 a nut, 1/2 turn. And this end should start. Look, you got to go the right direction. Might be able to save it. There we go. You see how that end's already starting to lift up? I'm going to go for another 1/2 turn here. Crank it back at you. One thing I'm starting to watch is whether it's tipping over this way as it goes. I can kind of control that, watch it. It shouldn't do very much. See how that end's starting to come up. Line up the end. Just keep going with this process. Might be on this round, I'm not sure, but there's going to come a point when they're going to cross each other. When that happens, you got to kind of guide them to spiral past each other, kind of like a spring. I'll try to get a close up in a minute. Alright, see where they're crossing? I'm going to try to get this one to go right beside it down through here so I can cross and pass it. So I'm going to hold these together and try to advance it. It fits right down in there. I'm going to keep on going through. Now I got to reset my tension. And bring it back the other way. We can make that work. Loosen it up. We're now going to feed it off just like a keychain. We're going to take it out of the wheels, slide it over here. There's your loop. Please note that kink. That's going to be waste. We're going to cut it right there to get our ring. Fair enough. Alright, so we've moved into the basement workshop, and I'm going to use the vise here to take this, and I'm actually going to hang it down like so. I'm going to open up the vise and clamp it in there until I can close up the gap. Now I'm positioning it so my cut is a little bit away from the vise, and then I'm going to start tightening it down. I'm going to clamp this in here with it closed as much as we can. Nice and tight. And then I use a Sawzall to cut it off. Now here's the key. I have waste here and here. This part of the pipe is going to get cut off. I'm going to aim for the middle of the circle so that I'm cutting square. And I'm going to angle it a little bit this direction so that my waste has a long point in the middle. And my waste on this side has a long point in the middle. The idea being that they will now be a slightly bigger loop, and when I squeeze them, they'll press together. Let's see if I can make that happen. Waist section. Waist section. Now before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and prep it for welding. I'm going to go ahead and take myself a big old bastard file and we'll chamfer each one of these outside edges so that the weld has a place to go to. You can certainly grind this in, but I find this is just as easy and effective. So now we're prepped and ready. You can see how it's a little bit long. show you the next step out there. So here's the beauty of that angled cut. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place it into my little welding vise here. Open that up a little more. I'm going to push it down onto those two surfaces as I start tightening the vise. What's going to end up happening, hopefully, is as I get closer and closer, you'll notice eventually the two surfaces start wedging against each other. This is going to create a good inside pressure. Look at that. They're going to start pushing right there. Nice. Now I'm pushing down against these two surfaces, so I know that that's lined up. And as I keep twisting, I can keep doing a little bit of shimmy and shake, and it should just cross over each other. And create a pretty good seam. Now we've got it aligned this way, but on the top I can feel this side is a little bit high. So I'm going to actually twist it that direction just a bit until everything feels nice and smooth. I'm going to tighten it down right like so. Everything feels real good. Go ahead, prep myself, throw a quick tack on there. Last thing to do is use a series of file or sandpaper and basically get rid of all those high spots, all those rough things. I prefer files because they're pretty quick. You're not building up a whole lot there. I'm going to take this opportunity to run around the edge. Where these rub against the roller bearings, you might get some burrs that have been kicked up. I find the easiest thing is to just kind of run around them a few times, draw filing technique. It's welded enough for what I need to do, and that's a ring.